What's up, everybody? Stick here. Today we're talking about editing software, how you can find the right one that'll work just perfectly for you. That's what we're talking about today's video. Let's get into it. So when it comes to editing software, it's a lot of personal preference and how you would actually use it. So what type of videos you'll be making, that's what it comes down to when you choose the right software. So for example, if I was someone who's editing a professional Hollywood film, I wouldn't go out and use something like iMovie. That just wouldn't be practical. I mean, it might be able to get the job done, but it just wouldn't do it as efficiently and as good as a professional software would, like Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro. It really depends what type of videos you're making. If I was just sitting here making standard YouTube videos, like very basic, iMovie would definitely do the trick, and it has done the trick in the past. What if you're someone like me where you kind of have some experience, you've used that basic software, you've tested out Premiere, but you don't have the budget for it? So what can you resort to? You could resort to something like mid-range, kind of. I currently use ScreenFlow 6. I would really recommend your editing software could grow with you. So basically, I don't use every single feature on ScreenFlow, okay? Obviously, I use the basics, cut, trim, merge, whatever. I occasionally use some color correction. I don't really use a lot of the actions. I mean, I might make like a fade in, but those are features where when I start to grow and become more advanced in this field, those features start to come handy. But then eventually, I need a little bit more, that I could upgrade to something like Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro, and that's something that you should be. So have your mid-range editing software kind of grow with you. Then when you're ready to make that next final leap into the professional stage, choose a professional software. Another thing video editing comes down to is the type of computer you'll be editing on. So how powerful is the computer? So you could be using something like an iMac Pro or a professional custom-built PC, and pretty much any editing software with any effects will work well on it. They'll run smoothly and pretty quickly. You'll be able to edit your videos with efficiency. But what if you're using something a little mid-range, maybe less professional? So maybe like a mid-range custom-built PC or maybe a baseline iMac. Some effects would probably work, but then it starts to come to optimization. So Premiere Pro is not that well optimized for computers because it runs on so many different platforms such as Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it's hard to optimize it for one specific one, because then it had to be a kind of a completely different application, and they just didn't really want to do this. They want to have a cross-platform, so cross-platform applications are definitely more difficult to optimize than something like Final Cut Pro, where it runs natively on Mac OS and is made by Apple. Slightly off topic, it's rumored that Apple will be building their own CPUs. It's rumored they would partner with AMD to build these CPUs, and that'd be crazy. They design their own software, design their own editing software, design their own CPUs. Like, that would be crazy, the optimization and performance you can get out of that. Back on topic though, with hardware, NVIDIA GPUs seem to work better with Premiere Pro. And that is because the CUDA acceleration, which is basically similar like the drivers of the GPU, and that acceleration is on NVIDIA, and Premiere Pro really benefits from that. While Final Cut Pro, it has the Intel QuickSync, and Final Cut Pro is more CPU intensive, and that QuickSync really makes things just go like that. And as I said, optimization is everything. So if you're a Premiere Pro user, use something more NVIDIA based for GPU, and I mean AMD would work, but wouldn't be just NVIDIA would be just that slight bit faster for Premiere Pro. So another thing we're gonna be talking about is video codecs. This kind of ties into computers because the different types of video codecs will take a lot of advantage of your computer, and it'll require a beefy computer to edit, and some are just standard, anything can pretty much edit them. So one big example a lot of professionals use is RAW. RAW video is essentially like the same thing as photos. So all this information, like the ISO, the white balance stuff, isn't burned into the video. Where if you're using something like MP4, RAW, you can adjust those things in post-production. For example, Canon a while ago came out with their RAW Lite codec, and basically some applications could not support that codec. Like at the time, only DaVinci Resolve could support it, but then as time went on, Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, they started to support this new codec, and now they can edit that and use the RAW capabilities. So that's something to kind of look for if you're just starting out and you don't really do you just kind of film with your phone or your camera straight out of the camera. Most of it's going to be MP4, so pretty much any software can read that and recognize that, so you're going to be fine there. It's standard. It doesn't take much resource on your computer. So if you're just shooting it straight out of your camera, straight out of your phone, and don't really know how to mess with it, then you'll be fine. Budget is also a big thing looking at software. For example, Adobe has their as either a monthly payment or a yearly payment, and the monthly is $15 for just Premiere, or $50 for the whole Creative Cloud, which is like Photoshop, Lightroom, After Effects, things like that. Or you can buy Premiere with the yearly plan for $180. But I don't know. If it was me, I'd personally probably go with the monthly, because why not? But what if you don't? But most beginners don't have a budget, and if they do, it's very little. So fortunately, with Macs, you have iMovie built in, and on Windows side, you can get the free version of DaVinci Resolve. You can get Windows Movie Maker, and free softwares come quite a long way. For professionals who work for themselves or big production production companies, they can go out and afford to buy $300 to $500 of software to use on their video editing gigs. And they could also probably have a little money in there for some photo editors, so you can do like some maybe like poster design, but that's a little off topic. So let's recap, because I feel like that was maybe a little confusing. Step 1 is to find out what type of video you will be editing. So whether it's just standard YouTube videos, Hollywood films, weddings, whatever, find out what type of videos you will be editing. Step 2, see how powerful your computer is, and then find the right codec that'll work well on your computer and give you good quality. Also look for the optimization of different programs, and you'll try to get the best performance out of them. Step 3, I kind of already mentioned, choose the codecs. Look what type of codecs you'll be using. See if your application can recognize the video codecs you'll be shooting in. And step 4 is budget. See how big your budget is. See what type of applications you can afford, and just kind of see like what apps, maybe like mid-range, maybe professional, maybe beginner. You never know. Just find your right app, and then you'll be good. So thank you all for watching. See you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Peace out.